All right, in this video, essentially part 2 to the video found right up here, we are going to go through and use subtractive sequencing and the erase button to sequence out our song on the MPC. Now, subtractive sequencing is essentially building the busiest part of the song, duplicating it across different sequences, and then using the erase button to remove different segments to build up the different portions of our song. Now, the erase button on the MPC is a little hidden gem. It's extremely powerful, and in this video, I'm going to try and show you not only all the features that it can do, but how you could use those to apply them to sequencing out a full idea on the MPC. So if you haven't seen or heard of subtractive sequencing before, essentially what it is making the busiest part of the track, which right now we have called sequence 1, and then copying that sequence into multiple different sequences and then starting to subtract things. And that's where the power of the erase button comes in really, really handy. So we're just going to call this first sequence, we're going to call this all in. And we're then going to take and copy this sequence and put it on some other ones. So since we already have the all in on sequence number 1, maybe we work backwards where we start with the intro, bring in an element, one more element, or a breakdown, and then all in. So if we go backwards from the all in section, let's say number 2 is going to just be our breakdown. Cool, do it. And let's do it again. And now we're going 2 to 3. And on 3, we're going to call this our intro number 2. Do it. And then let's do it one more time. And we're going to number 4. And we're just going to change this to our intro number 1. Do it. Do it. Now we just have to kind of start thinking, well, what do we want to evolve throughout? So right now, if we go into next sequence, everything is going to sound the same because we haven't adjusted anything in here. Well, right off the bat, I know that we're on intro 1 and I don't want any of the ARP inside of intro 1. So I'm going to go to ARP right here, and just to show the abilities of the erase button, let's go into the erase. Now, the erase button is something that you can have the screen up and just start working on different tracks and different sections without even getting out of the screen, because you have the ability to switch your different sequences here and then go and change the track right here and then change what part of that certain sequence on that track you're affecting. You have the ability to erase everything on there, the automation, notes, and accept note. So right away, since we know we don't want any of this ARP on here, we're just going to erase all. And right there, the ARP just disappeared. I'm going to go back into my erase function right here, and I'm going to change this just to track number 1, which is the drums. And inside of these drums, I want to start off, I don't even want to start off with a kick, I just want to start off with a hi-hat. So I'm going to press Note, and I'm going to just select the kick right there, which is what I want to erase in my drums. So I'm going to hit Do It, and the kick has disappeared. We can also have this screen up so we can actively see. We just have to change this to drums so we can actually see what we're actually doing with the erase. Now, while I was doing the kick, so let's undo that. Go back into the grid. I can make the decision to erase multiple different parts or multiple different MIDI notes from this erase button. So I want to go to Note, and I can select multiple ones. So I know that this is my kick. This right here is going to be my clap. I maybe don't want that in. I don't want that. I just want the shakers, which I know is right here. So let me erase everything but the shakers. So there's 2 ways we could do this. We could go into Note and select everything we want to erase, or we could hit Accept Note, and that means I'm going to erase everything except the shaker. 2 different ways of doing the same thing. So let's hit Do It, and we should just have our shaker left. I don't want the bass to come in yet, so we're just going to stay on this and go into our bass right here, hit Erase, and I'm going to say All on the bass. The intro sequence, bass, I want everything erased. Do it. Now the bass is gone. And we just have that shaker and the pad. So I'm going to come back to my main, and I'm going to go to my intro number 2 right here. Again, I don't want anything to do with that ARP yet. That's only going to come in on the chorus. So I can just go right here and go to ARP and all, do it. ARP is gone. I want the bass to come in here with the kick, the shaker, and maybe the clap. So we're on bass, that's going to stay in. Let's go down to our drums and go back into the erase menu. And let's say I want to erase everything except kick, shaker, and the clap. Do it. So now if we juggle in between these two, we go from intro 1 into intro number 2. But wouldn't that be cool if there was a slight pause with those shakers going from 1 into 2? So there's a couple ways we could do that. We could come in here and just use the highlight tool and kind of fiddle around, but since these are 16th notes, it's a little bit frustrating to select exact, see, it's going to take, there we go. So we could do it that way. Or we could go into the erase notes. I'm in the drums, and I want to erase all because I want dead silence, but I only want it in between bar 4 to bar 5. So now if we hit do it, we can see that we automatically just erase that out. So that's a really powerful tool in order to create separation from the end of a bar going into a new section. So then from this section, I want to go into a breakdown. So let's go back into our main and go into the section we called breakdown. And for this, I want to take all of the drums out. So I'm in drums right now. I'm going to go to erase all, do it. I also want to take that bass out. So when the bass hits on the chorus, it's more impactful. So we're going to go to bass right here. Erase all, do it. And I want to go into this ARP and just add a little automation. So program edit. And I want to start off with this filter really low. And bring it up. So we're just going to turn on this automation right here. Hit start from the beginning. And then the automation is tracked in, and then from there we would go to our main chorus. But let's just add a couple of little moments in here, maybe a clap roll on the drums. Overdub. Let's go to grid so we can see what we're doing. We could even add so we just added that little moment right there, which is going to bring us into the main chorus of this idea. So let's go into next sequence, play, and then we're going to go into the all in. We'll see how that transition works. Now another idea just listening to this is let's take this all in, copy it one more time to here for a second section, and on this first part of the chorus, erase the closed hi-hat 16th note and then just bring that in as a second part of the main chorus. So to do that, we're in all in. We're going to come here and go to copy sequence, and we're going to put that on 5. So we're going to change this to all in part 2. Do it. And by default, it's going to bring us to that part 2. So we want to go back to part 1, which is on pad number 1. Just hold next sequence and go back to it. Go back to the main. And we're on drums. That is that's kind of our push element that's going to come in on the second half of the chorus. Let's go into erase. and go into, I want to delete that note, do it. And then when it goes into that closed hi-hat on the second half just gives it a little bit of push. However, I want more of a break, a dead space in these drums in between sequence 1 and sequence 5, the all-in to the all-in 2. So with these drums, we're going to go back into erase, and we're going to say, I want to erase all of the drums, but only for one bar, in between bar 4 to 5. So let's hit do it, and if we come in and take a look, without having to highlight and fuck around with all that stuff, we just made this gap to transition from that sequence into the next one. So let's start playback. And let's say on here, I wanted to erase the shaker and the closed hi-hat and the up hi-hat and just leave the kick and the clap for just this last little 4-bar segment right here. Again, the erase, go into the erase, and we're gonna say, okay, on the drum track, in between bar 4 and 5 to create that empty space, I want to erase all notes, let's say, except just those 2, or I could say I want to erase the notes that are everything else besides the one I want to keep. If I had a bunch of automation, I could erase that automation, but let's just hit do it. And now what we'll see is this. So using the erase feature with except note and note, 2 ways of doing the same thing. It just kind of comes down to what's more convenient. So let's say you had a drum section with all 16 drums in here, and you just wanted to strip everything down to just the kick. Instead of hitting note and going through and selecting 15 different pads, you could just hit accept note and say, I just want to keep the kick drum. Do it, and then everything else will wipe out. So we can even use the erase button on different segments, such as, let's say, the pads. Come in here to pad, I want to erase everything, but I only want to do it on the last bar, so bar 4 to 5. Do it. Now if we look at the pads, it's created this empty gap right here. If we also go over to, let's say, the ARP, find our ARP notes, and I want to erase all of this, or maybe I just want to erase this little last section right here. You can still do that with this erase button. I'm in the ARP, I'm on beat, I'm on bar 4, I want to erase all, but I don't want to go the full length of the bar. I just want to take the second half of the bar, which would be beat number 2, hit do it. And as you can see, it maintained this first half, these first couple of notes, but it erased this second section right here. And hearing that, I want to do the same thing, and I want to erase the kick and the snare on just this section right here. Let's go back into our drums, go to erase. I'm going to go to all, bar 4, beat 2, hit do it, and it just cleared that out, leaving just the kick right here. Now, if I undo that, and if we want to keep that clap in there, we're going to go back into the erase and say, I want to delete bar 4 from beat 3. Do it. So that maintains this. This is beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. So now it just erased from beat 3 and up. By doing beat 2, it goes from 2 to the right. And let's do that also with the bass. Come in here with the bass. Let's take a look at our bass notes right here, and I want it just to erase that last one. Now this is an easy one where, since it's already highlighted, I could just hit shift and cut to do it, but let's undo that and let's use our handy dandy erase. I want to erase everything from bar 4, beat 3 to the right. Do it, boom, it's done. Really quick and easy. So just to recap how powerful this erase button is, when we go into erase, we can pick the sequence we're working on, the track we're working on, what segment of that specific sequence we want to work on, and then do we want to erase everything on there? Do we want to erase the automation or sections of the automation? Do we want to erase specific notes or everything but specific notes? So I hope this video helped you understand the power of the erase button and how critical it is when using it to do the sequencing on an MPC. Once you learn how to get into all the different aspects of it, it really speeds up your entire process. Now, if you're new to this channel, please support, like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. We'll be coming out with more and more content this entire year. I appreciate everybody's support. And on that note, thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. Now, use the erase button and go make something cool.